Halo, apa kabar semuanya? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Balik lagi ya. Udah lama banget aku nggak bikin video, ya kan? Terus, lagian aku tuh malas ngeditnya, nggak bisa. Banyak alatnya nggak cukup, ngeditnya cuma pakai HP aja. Oke, hari ini aku bakal sedikit share ya. Itu tentang kerja di Macau. Sekarang peraturan sekarang yang kemarin ya gara-gara covid ya, ini gara-gara covid semuanya kacau deh. Gara-gara covid ini sekarang kita dipersulit masuk Macau. Kan dulu itu enak banget, kita pakai visa turis bisa nyari kerja ya kan, tapi sekarang nggak bisa. Ya mau nggak mau kita harus apply-nya dari Indonesia, terus baru bisa balik ke sini. Maksudnya gini, kita apply di salah satu perusahaan sini, terus nanti kalau dari perusahaan sini dia udah ngurus surat kontrak kerja dan visa, nah visanya dikirim ke kita, baru kita bisa masuk sini lagi. Nanti aku bakal share videonya. Itu berita yang bulan ini ya, tanggal 5. Kalian bisa lihat nanti, dan kalau pengen tahu selanjutnya bisa komen di bawah, tanya-tanya, nanti aku bakal kasih tahu semuanya. Ya setahu aku aja sih ya, soalnya sekarang emang masih lockdown sih. Negara Macau ini cuma open buat orang-orang China aja, belum orang lain. Tapi kemarin waktu aku pulang kerja, aku lihat tuh udah ada kayak persiapan buat Grand Prix Macau lagi. Jadi kayaknya everything will be fine. Dan aku juga mau kontrak kerjanya mau habis, dan I hope everything will be fine. Well, kalau gitu kita langsung ke videonya aja ya.
The new law regulating employment agencies was passed today by Macau's Legislative Assembly and is set to come into effect in March of next year. The law sets up a series of rules intended to protect both potential employees and employers, with a specific focus on those coming to work from abroad.
Macau's Legislative Assembly today passed the Employment Agency Law, setting up the rules and obligations over services for offering employment and recruiting workers. The new law, which is set to come into effect March 15th of next year, mandates that all employment agencies be licensed and have a physical location that is not in a residential, industrial, hotel, parking, or public building. In order to overcome previous cases of overcharging, the law also mandates that fees charged to employers cannot exceed the values listed on their fee listing, which has to be published and sent to the Labor Affairs Bureau, while the fees charged of workers seeking employment cannot exceed 50% of their salary of their first month of work, set out in the work contract. Due to not having a cap on the total amount employers can be charged by agencies, with authorities saying supply and demand will dictate the pricing, legislators today questioned the specifics of which services could be charged by agencies.
Which are the support services which can be charged? The first is the agency service for formalities for the creation or termination of a work relationship. In other words, the formalities ensuing from starting or terminating a work agreement. If an employer wants to recruit a non-resident worker through the agency or wants the authorization for a stay permit or a visa, then all of these formalities fall under the scope of the law. And regarding the legislator's question, if the employer wants to renew the blue card, then in this case, if they ask the agency to handle the formalities of the renewal of the stay permission, then that also falls under the law.
Authorities assured that regarding repatriation costs, which are covered under a separate law, the responsibility for the repatriation falls on the employer. But if they request that an agency handle the process, employers can be charged for this by the agency.
If the non-resident worker wants to come to Macau and the agency helps the non-resident worker to request the visa, these are the types of formalities specified under the law. Like the Secretary said, in the legislation for hiring non-resident workers, the employer has the obligation to pay the expenses for repatriation of the non-resident worker to the place of origin. If the employer asks the agency to buy the plane tickets, then fees can be charged for this service.
In addition, the law sets up a support mechanism for incoming non-resident workers, only allowing the agencies to charge their fees once, 60 days after the first work date, with the only exception being if the work period is less than 60 days, in which the fee is charged on the last official workday. Macau currently has some 153 employment agencies, divided between 29 which supply non-resident workers from mainland China, 65 which provide workers from the Asia-Pacific region, 16 which offer local workers, and 45 which offer workers from other regions. The authorities assure that they will share all of the relevant information on the new law to clarify any doubts of either workers or employers through various means, including seminars, contact with consulates, and other methods.